Alrighty, everybody. Late day Q&A here for Trade Ideas. Chris Varley, sharing screen on the mic. Let me know if you can see my screen okay, if this looks all right for everybody. All right, see people starting to come in again. We are doing this as a live open forum, so please fire away questions, things you'd like to see demonstrated, something you might not understand about the software. I will make my best attempt to keep it moving, keep it interesting if nobody is giving me questions. I'm also going to zoom my screen in a little bit here. I think that it's a little tough to see like this, so let's make this adjustment for everybody. And please start firing away, everybody. It's much more interesting when you are helping create the content. Make this all fixed up nice like for us to see. Let me know how that looks, everybody. All right, I think that looks a little better for everybody. So let's take a look around the horn today. It's a pretty solid day for Holly today. Tale of two tapes with the spread, risk on and risk off. All right, I'm gonna go with Nick Yale. Thank you, appreciate that. Looks good. All right, very good. So let's take a look around the horn for Holly here. So, man and machine is the theme here. She had a short early in the day, 9:42 a.m. Eastern, CCXI. Probably in some way, shape, matter, or form, that stock was on every stock scanner in the world today. She makes an entry here at 35.57. That red's hard to see it. And as far as the conservative profit goes, which would mean that she was obeying her rule set, she hit the stop at $221 for profit. Now, that's not a live account, but what I've done here is set this up to mimic if we are risking $100 per trade based on the stop loss. So let's get the chart actually up there. And so based on this stop loss of this entry here, that's how I share sized, or would have share sized in a real account with 133 shares. We can see she hits the stop, boom, right away. So the entry again, 9:42 a.m. The exit's 9:46 a.m. However, there's a lot of money left on this here. And we continued for 5 bars before buyers and sellers start to gain equal ground. And then the buyers took back over. So I believe at one point, if you were in the moderate mode here, meaning you were just holding till the end of the day, at some point you were up over $600 based on this share size here. So, really solid there. Now you're going to see the moderate profit sit at $100 because eventually she came and did get stopped out. But, realistically, what person on this planet would have gotten into money here and let it turn all the way around back up there? And if that is something that's happening to you, you might want to revisit your trading plan, or you might want to create a trading plan. And again, why man and machine is better than just letting the machine run all on its own. But that wasn't the only darling from Holly today. We had Mara here. She hit that early. And from my understanding, she's still in it. It looks like it's going to be a timed exit. 3:45 is probably going to be the exit on this. So Mara came in at 9:56, the second candle here. Got a little wiki. And after that, there's a beautiful, clean 15-minute chart there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Buyers and sellers kind of become equal for a little bit. And we start to dip. We start to come up. But all the same, a lot of time to manage that trade properly. Time to get into that trade well. If you didn't get it here, you certainly had time to get it here, and all this time to manage that trade on the upside. So again, right now I fill the airtime unless you guys have questions, comments, concerns, you want to see something demonstrated. So just go into a little Holly recap that's here. We've shown some good. Let's show some ugly. NXTP. You got to stop out on that one, unfortunately. So you can see this is the candle that we got the entry on. That's right there. All right. She tried to go short on it. She got stopped out right away. So, and this is why we have stops. All right, protect ourselves, protect our capital, manage our risk, so on and so forth. The stop that Holly has might not be the stop that you have. You might be looking at the chart different than Holly. You might say, boy, that looks like a good entry, but I'm not sure that that's the right stop for me. You might say that looks like it's an okay stop, but that's not the right entry for me. And again, my man and machine matter. So this would have been a tough trader one way or the other. I mean, you take a look and wick, 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 wick. It's just kind of an ugly looking chart to trade anyways, as far as my eyes go, but every trader is a little different. We don't all see the same thing. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes people profitable for different reasons. That's why we have our trading plans. All right, so I'm going to take a sip of water, pause for 1 second. Please, if someone has some questions, comments, concern, I would love, love, love to have them pour in here and help generate some content instead of just my boring droning on. Take one more look, and again, it's still open, so please at any time someone jump right in here. And so we've seen Holly do it from the long, from the short side, both successful. Short stop out. We also have a short here with DOGZ. We would have been share sizing pretty heavy based on that $100 risk of $8.95 for those shares. All right, and that stop was not easy to see on the intraday chart, but we can see at 344 up here. She comes, she makes that, almost top ticks it, and it was a nice release right away from there. All right, so again, on a 5-minute chart, that's what it looked like. You had 1, 2, 3 5-minute bars to try to get in before you got that release. And while on a dollars and cents basis, that doesn't look like a lot, on a percent basis, it's a pretty good move considering it's a $3 stock that we're shorting. So I think going to really be the highlights of Holly. We can dive into all the trades, but I'm not going to unless someone has something they want to ask about a specific Holly trade. With that said, something I've been working on a little bit and we'll showcase here. I'm going to bring it up and take a look at how it went today. So I'm trying to create a scan for a 520 cross. These are SMAs. And so what I've done here, if we come into the configure, window specific filters. All right, let's expand this a little bit. Done a little bit of optimizing on this, but haven't dug too far deep on it yet. Looking at stocks, got a relative volume at rocking at 3. Want to see prices in between $4 and $75. 5-minute RSI, some optimization that I did pointing you towards a range on that 5-minute RSI of 30 and 64.99 on that. And then we had this custom filter that I've made here. All right. So everybody has the ability to make these kind of customs here. They have to work within the data points that exist already. And I'll go over that custom momentarily. Let's go through the rest here, though, on these. I also want to make sure that the stock has some range. So I want to see at least a 50-cent average true range. That's a 14-day period. That's what most average true ranges work. That's what ours works with. And then in a 5-day range, I want to see it's up a little bit in a 5-day range. I like to see stock that's trending up. If it's down for the day and it's reversing, that's fine. For now, we'll look into the optimizer for that a little bit more afterwards. But what I want to see with this is that in its 5-day range, that this stock is starting to move up a little bit. All right, now to elaborate a little more on the custom formulas. I don't do a ton with custom formulas, but once in a while I do like to experiment. And so I came up with this custom formula here. And what I did was I used our formula editor. All right. And I came in here, and this is what the formula editor page looks like if you're not familiar. Sorry, let's get that out of the way like that. And let's bring this over like this. It's a little healthier looking. All right. Shrink these down so we can see. And again, if someone has some questions on this, fire away. Where am I drawing? And on our custom editor formula, our custom formula page here, get this to the account login. We have some different codes and things that you can look at. So let's open these up here. Open those in some new tabs. So in here, you're going to have the instructions of how most of this works, okay? You scroll down. We're going to find different formats, how the graphics work when it's a cone or it's a position and range bar, so on and so forth. All right. Basic styles of formulas. There's C programming that goes involved in this. You don't need to know a lot about programming, just kind of standard operations right here, creating if-then statements, true-false statements, turning something into a percent or a ratio. Fairly standard stuff. Mike C, hi again. Thank you for joining. All right. So if you're here, Mike C, diving into the custom formulas a little bit. All right. Here are some of the codes that we have. Your price, your last price, most recent close, open, seconds after the open. All right. Today's high, today's low. So these are all data points that exist within trade ideas, and you can combine them in ways. What you cannot do is change them. You cannot change the look back. You can't change the timing of them, anything like that. All right. So for example, this here for the SMAs, all right, this is every SMA that we have on the different time periods. So you have a 2-minute SMA on a 5-minute chart, all right? You have a 5 SMA on a 5-minute chart. Excuse me, 2-minute chart, 5 SMA, 5-minute chart, 5 SMA, 15-minute chart, 5 SMA, all right? So 2-minute chart, 8 SMA. You can't change these formulas, but they all exist within here. So what I did was I took 2 different SMAs and I created a formula with them. Let's try to find that. I called it the 520 cross. So if we come in here, this is what the formula editor page looks like. And I took these 2 different SMAs and I put them in here saying that I want one below the other, gave them a value, plugged them in, and they work just like any other filter. Quant, I don't know, you might be a quant. So to dive down a little further of the custom formula route for anybody, if you start to get curious on how all this works, I have a really great video. It's a short video, real comprehensive. All right. And maybe I'm opening Pandora's box a little bit here, but we got to do that once in a while. All right. That video right there will show everybody how custom formulas work. All right. Now, this formula that I created here came from our filter codes. So we have this instruction page that has one set of codes that's on it. You can find all these different codes there: 52-week high, 52-week low, your standard deviation, your 20-day standard deviation yearly weighted. All right. Consolidation high, consolidation low. All right. All these different things: lifetime highs, lifetime lows, high, low periods of all these different numbers here, 5 days up to 20 days, so on and so forth. All right. And then the rest goes into a little more of how coding goes. And again, you don't have to be some master code expert. Probably some advanced high school math gets you through all of this. Yeah, so Mike C, I'd imagine you've already dove into some of this. So, I think you've got a pretty good handle on all this goes. All right. So Boolean expressions, so on and so forth. All right. Tools are there. Like I said, I'm no expert in all this stuff, but I play around once in a while. Here are the rest of all the codes we have. So every single filter that we have, you're going to find right here in the code for those filters. Now, the raw code of them, nobody's getting, because that's our proprietary stuff. But this is the way this kind of stuff works. And so I had looked and I had found these 20 SMA codes. These SMA codes somewhere down here. All right. These different codes, I'd use 2 of these ones down here, and I created the formula that I had to try to make this scan that I've got going on. All right, so that's my little tutorial on how I created this cross scan. Going to go into optimizing it from here. Tedious process, but I very much enjoy back testing and optimizing. I like to get down rabbit holes, so on and so forth. We'll close this out. I don't think there's much else to show you here. I'm using a 5-minute high, okay, as the catalyst instead of a new high, because for all I know, something, might have made a high early in the day, pulled back, and now it's crossing to come back up, and I don't want to miss it that way. So that's why I'm using the 5-minute high here. It's the one that I chose. I played with some other ones earlier, didn't like the results that I was getting from them. And that's everything from the scan right now. All right. We're just looking at the regular exchanges. I've excluded warrants, EFTs, NYC special symbols. These are the columns that I decided to put in there. And, back to a summary of what the actual scan is. And this is what I found was working pretty well on the charts for me trying to find those crosses. So I'm going to close that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a chart now, a new chart, and show how this looks so far. All right. So let's take a look at some of the earlier alerts, and let's indicators. What indicators do we have on here? SMA 5, EMA 8, SMA 20. Let's get rid of that 8 EMA. Indicators, edit, EMA, remove, save, close. All right, so now my only indicators here are this 20 blue SMA and this orange is 5 SMA. All right, so let's go back into the day. Let's take a look at MDP. Maybe that's going to be a good looking chart for us. All right, so the alert came in here and we can see the separation from those SMAs. Wasn't a great alert on that. All right, let's take a look at, so this one's a little better. Those SMAs are almost touching. They came down, they finally crossed over here, and price kind of ran up on us there. All right, so the idea is that I was working on the values of that code that's in here, the filter, so I can try to find where the 5 SMA is just below that 20 SMA on a 5-minute chart is the idea for that cross. And so that's what I kind of did. The very beginning of testing this, I created a top list just with that filter to see what was coming through with these SMAs on a 5-minute chart to see what it looked like. So thought it might be something neat, something handy for everybody to take a look at. If you have any questions about it, please fire them away. The only way I can share the scan is if you have that code. So you'd have to go into your formula editor and place that code in there yourself. If anybody's interested in that, I'm happy to share the code. Just chime in the questions panel. We can do that. We'll take a look around at some of these alerts, see what happened here today. So again, you can see that 5 SMA is below the 20 SMA. So we're finding kind of the things that we want here. Not exactly in the way that we want them, but that's where the optimizing and back testing starts to come in. Again, if anybody has any comments, questions, concerns, please fire them away. And we're looking at 3:45 now. Around 4 o'clock, I believe I'll be bringing in Steve. He'll do a little market recap himself, and then we'll get back into kind of what we're doing here. All right. Just clicking around to see if any decent alerts come through this on the day. I didn't really check it out. That wasn't too bad. 1870 ran all the way up to 20. So there's some alerts that are there for sure. Refining and optimizing still becomes the trick here on all this. So I'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of that. I think we kind of covered it and nobody seems to have any questions on that. So I'll let that topic die. All right, take a look at what Barry Scanner did today on the unusually high options volume. AEHR, not a bad alert from that. All right, chasing after these things. Oh, here we go. 3:45, just as I said. Holly making her exits right now on all this. So we had a pretty conservative, solid conservative day on the moderate profit. Kind of looks like a crappy number, but that's because CCXI eventually came around and got stopped out in moderate profit after it already hit the target in conservative. So anyways, man and machine is the theme. Get back to AEHR. Nice gap up, strong gap up. Get the alert here and, let that moving average catch up. Now, which moving average are you using for your intraday momentum? I like an 8 EMA personally. Some people like a 10 SMA. Some people like a 9 EMA. Some people like 13 EMA. Figure out what works for you. But this kind of cradled and caught that 8 EMA on that 15-minute chart. And it was a pretty solid alert after that. So someone might have said to themselves, let me set an alert for a 19 break on a second time. All right. Here. All right. And, second mouse kind of gets the cheese on this alert as well. Debbie, can I share that alert I was just showing? I can, but you have to go into your formula editor and put in a custom formula. It's the only way that will work. So I can give you the custom formula. Let me give you that custom formula first. Hopefully you know how that works, the formula editor. If not, there's a video. If you scroll back, I can put the video again. Edit, copy. All right, that's the custom formula right there. Okay, so you're going to need to put that in your formula editor. All right, this will be the scan. But like I said, it won't work without that formula. And that's just going to create a filter for you. And it works like any other filter. All right. And then you're going to need these values for that filter once you get that done. All right, let's take a look and hide those. All right, so not sure if I can share this the way I'd like to right now. Let's take a look. Yeah, I can't share that here like that. All right, Debbie, what you're going to have to do is if you can take a look, or I'll put it like this. So you need a min value of minus 0.01 and the max of minus 0.02. All right, 0.1, sorry. All right, perfect. There it is too. So you put that formula in, just add that formula into the scan, and then you'll have, everything else will be loaded there for you, and you can start to play with it, back test it, optimize it. Um, I want to be hopeful, promising. Maybe it's a promising scan. We'll see what happens. Crosses are tough for us, unfortunately, as things stand right now. All the cross alerts that we have a built-in volume confirmation, which in hindsight you would think it is really great. Unfortunately, that volume confirmation did not work the way we thought it would, and removing it isn't just as simple as removing a line of code, unfortunately, because the way it's built in to all the coding of those crosses, removing it ruins the cross, actually. So it's just kind of an unfortunate situation with that. But working around some different ways that we can do this. So with that said, so anyways, we looked at AHR from Barry's list. This one came through. I thought VYGR. I said no. I don't think this has got room to run. I kind of looked at this right here. And thought to myself, all right, we've got above this level from the last few days. But then my eyes went to this level and I said, I don't know if it's really going to get above 460 or not. And everybody's kind of probably looking at this level, and I don't think I want to risk the money for it, and well, obviously I was very wrong on that. Just a really, really great alert. And we can take this a little bit further. We can see here a beautiful red bar ignore on that 15-minute chart. I did not set a price alert foolishly on that. And not only did we get one red bar ignore, we got two red bar ignores there. And it kind of just towed the line almost of that 8 EMA all day long on a 15-minute chart, came down, hugged it, and exploded right back off of it again. So just another beautiful, beautiful alert from Barry's option scanner. It doesn't put out the most perfect alerts every single day. But it puts out only a few alerts a day, a few different tickers a day. And, they're worth setting price alerts for and watching, that's for sure. And, it was one of those stocks too. If I bring over the time and sales from IMB, it's pretty orderly on the time and sales. It's nothing, there was never a big spread in this. This was never a difficult entry. You weren't going to have to give up delta to get into this or anything like that. So, just another great example of Barry's option scanner. Nothing complicated about it, and it just works real well. But you take the good, the bad, and the ugly. This thing here, while it looks obviously 28 times normal volume and over 4 million shares trading really liquid, that's an ugly chart. That's not something I'd be interested in. That's not to say someone couldn't have traded it well. And looking at the time and sales, red bar ignore, exactly, micro pullback, just the right kind of pullback a lot of times too. So it's not there's no magic anything, but like Mike C said, micro pullback, it's good stuff there. The red bar ignore, just and there are ways to add confirmation to what we're trying to see. We're trying to stack the deck in our favor. But again, RBAC, technically, yes, it ran up as an okay alert for a whole 10 cents there, it looks like. But, you know, not something you want to get involved in, I don't think, but especially when you look at a daily chart, look at that range on there, 4 or 5 cent range going back months. It doesn't really make sense to trade something like that. But for whatever reason, its options volume was off the charts today. You know, you can see those volumes right there. And for whatever reason, it made that scan. It is what it is. RENN, what that look like today? So sitting right at about its entrance right now. Briefly in the money for a couple of bars here before you get out. But that might be something to put price alert in. This looks like a pretty significant level right there, I would say. Maybe a price alert goes there. You checking that out Monday. All right. Give you something to watch there. And last alert from that. EZPW. Not bad. Never any pain on this one off that alert. Alert comes in at 8:03. Came back. Probably touched it here after getting up a few cents. And just kind of steady moving the rest of the day. No, Debbie. I don't think that's a Windows question. I think what happened here is that you have them on a disconnect of the minimize and maximizing. So, all right, on your toolbar, Debbie, go to Windows and go to Show All, and that should bring up all your windows at once. And then you can minimize or close whatever you want. So on the Windows, you got Show All, Minimize All. You can minimize your toolbar only. You can close all your windows. You close all your pinned windows, unpinned windows, docked, undocked, and then you can get a list of every single window that you have in the windows in the docks. So it's going to show, D stands for dock. So I have these docked sets here, and then these are the windows inside of each one of those docks. All right. So I think that should fix you up there, Debbie. Let me know. So, all right, that covers Barry's option scanner. Let's see, Barry's watch list up. Found AHR even earlier than his option scanner did. All right, so it might have been a way to play that too if you're following along with Barry's channel there. That was a terrible alert. DATS. Another solid alert from DATS. A little bit tougher. I mean, you might have had to chase a little bit here. I would say this about that DATS alert. Getting in on that bar may have not been the best idea, but again, what's your momentum line? What are you looking at? And this came and touched that, and we're seeing today, a lot of good work on my charts from that 8 EMA. And again, there's nothing magic about 8 EMA. I just happen to like it is all. That's all there is to it. So, power to the indicator that works for you. Okay, and but also that Windows one that I just showed you, that's a good way also, because sometimes, like I said, for example, I have things that are minimized down here that I'm not looking at right now. There's, things I'm testing for other people and stuff like that. So they're just, they're sitting in the background. You can't really see them. And if that ever happens, that Windows, this one up here, like I just was going over before, this Windows tab will open or close things that you want to see like that too. So. And again, I'm going to throw back out there that this is, an open forum. I got 5 minutes or so before I'm bringing Steve in. Let him do a market recap, probably recap the week or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what Steve has in store for you all as a treat. But I can say this for sure. When I was attending the Tuesday Trade of the Week webinars with him and Andy, I never missed a market recap from Steve. They're just outstanding. That's all there is to it. He really, Steve knows his charts. I've learned so much from Steve. I'm always learning so much from Steve, to be honest. That's why I also, during those noon sessions, if I'm not busy working other tickets, I'm always listening into Jamie, Steve, Andy. I'm always listening into those, listening to Barry when I can, because there's just something always to learn from those guys. So I'm going to get ready to invite him in. Go. So Steve is ready to come in whenever he's ready to come in. And this is a little bit new, something that we're doing. So bear with us while this happens. I don't believe the stream should break up, but there might be a hiccup in screens, changing screens, things like that. So, anyways, back to DATS. Solid alert right there. You got a 937. A lot of time to get into that. Never came anywhere near back to that entry level, and just hugged that momentum line the whole way through. So, good stuff there. New issues. So, it's one of those things. I'm cautious with those new issues. Do you have bag holders here? Are the people holding here a believer in the stock? They're not going to sell it. These are all questions we have to ask ourselves, and only the price action will tell us the answers at the end of the day. CCXI. So, all right, looks like Steve is in here. Let's add him to the stream. I believe he's added now. Let's see how this all goes. Like I said, all a little bit new technology for us, a new toy for us to play with here. So. With that said, let's move up again. So playing the other side of Holly here. This alert's at 3701 CCXI. And like I said, this was no doubt on probably every stock screener on the planet today, whether it's us or somebody else. Okay, so it looks like Steve is in here. Very, very good. That alert came in at 2 o'clock today. So we're looking at it came in here. All right. And here, I'm lying. 2 o'clock is this line right here. So we got that alert here. Came back, touched towards the entrance, and give you plenty of time to get in and out off of that if you're watching CCXI from Barry's scanner as well. I would like to believe more likely than not you would get CCXI earlier, alerts much earlier than that. And last but not least, there we go. Steve has got his screen up for us there. Looks like he's getting ready.
So, hello. Are you seeing my screen? Oh, okay. I'm looking at the YouTube broadcast. I see my screen as well. So, good to know that when I click that, it looks like I pop right in there. All right. So, I'm assuming you hear me. I'll go ahead and we're going to just kind of do a dry run here on a new segment that we want to do occasionally at the close of the market, which we are about to see here in about 1 minute. All right, good to see you. Thank you, Mike. So what I'm going to talk about is just a few observations of what I see in the general market, and maybe even do a little sector top-down type stuff. And I don't really have any individual stocks today. I might have one, but this is what's really standing out to me. Let's just get right into the market recap here. So this is our S&P SPY chart, and as we can see, it's been extremely competent in bouncing off of the 50-day moving average until we got up here to where we are now. Let's just zoom in, and I see something a little different. I see a couple things. All right. I did mention in my webinar the other day, this big gap down here, then we traded up right under that 50-day moving average, which has been acting as support. All of a sudden, it's now acting as resistance. And then we rolled back down and actually made some new fresh lows down here. This is a very bullish short-term pattern. I call like a horseshoe, or in this case, an upside down horseshoe. But then fast forward 2 days, yesterday we had a big gap up. And I've got something to show you on that as well. And it looks like today, for the most part, we just kind of sneak in here to the 15-minute. Yesterday's gap up was kind of short-lived, and it's just been grinding for a day and a half now. Been grinding back down. The sellers are kind of trying to make themselves known. And I think that's to be expected, really, because the market is under pressure, in my opinion, to borrow a line from my friend Brian Shannon. After seeing what we just saw there, that gap down and that rolled over to lows, we are now under the moving averages. And I'm going to say the market is now guilty until proven innocent. These price wicks need to get back above, definitely need to get back above the 50-day moving average, because this seems to be our pivot level right now. Again, what was once support is now acting as resistance. And so the price is down here below the 50. If we can get a couple closes back above that 50, well, then the damage may be done. But I kind of am in the camp that the damage is not done. Like I said, the market's still guilty until proven innocent. These moving averages, Okay, the 10 is the momentum moving average, the 20 I call the backstop, and then there's the 50, which is kind of our bigger picture. One thing I noticed, which was interesting, was again yesterday we blasted through the open, probably a lot of short covering for people down here who didn't get follow through. But after that was done, again, we just had this grind lower all the way into the close today, pretty much. We can take a look at another indicator without using my moving averages. I'm going to show you, we go right here and we click into that menu and we grab this anchor. And again, this is also from our friend Brian Shannon. We select the tippy top of the market there, and it's now giving us a VWAP, an average value weighted average price, VWAP, from the top of the market. So everybody who bought or sold, I should say, the top of the market, they're still in the money. And so what we watch for is the price action to try and definitively get back above and close above these indicators, much like a moving average. Well, as you can see, this VWAP has been holding pretty solid. And then yesterday, that attempt to blow through, if we had closed above it, we didn't. But if we had, it would have been much more constructive. But we didn't. We're back down below yesterday. We gapped up to it, and we're back down below again today. So again, that's the average weighted value price in the S&P 500 using an anchored VWAP. So that's something of interest. Just another nail in the coffin there is saying the market is defensive and is going to need to figure out what it's going to do to try and get back above, again, our pivot line there in the 50-day moving average. The last 2 days, yeah, we had a gap up, but we didn't go anywhere. We've just been grinding back into it. So that's our big bellwether, the S&P 500. The NASDAQ and the QQQs, a bit more tech laden. Same kind of a story going on over there. We had the gap down below the moving average, rolled up, and then slammed back over to even fresher lows. The Nasdaq seems to be a bit more in a hurry to sell on the days when we're selling than the S&P does, and I think I'll show you why that is in a second. The big tech bellwethers have been selling off. The Apples and the Amazons and the Googs have not been holding up very well, and they've been dragging the Nasdaq lower. But same thing over there. Nasdaq, the Qs, guilty until proven innocent. I'd like to see a close at least above that declining 20 and a close above that 50. But for the most part, we are still in kind of just a little downtrend. We're making little lower highs as we go here. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. We'll see what happens. The IWM, I will say, the Russell 2000, the small caps, they're kind of in a wedge. They could go either way. But that's really all they've been doing for the last couple of months. They're just looking for a direction over there. Before I give it back to Chris, and just to kind of harp on what I think the interest is, well, we know energy has been strong. Energy has been very strong. That's our XLE. Oil service has also been extremely strong. I think some more strength is going to be coming out of that. But one of the reasons the Nasdaq's not doing as well as the S&P is I think the financials. I'm going to pull up the XLF here. I think this is an interesting looking chart, totally different than what we saw over there in the indexes. We're in clean air, we're above all of our moving averages. And if we just go to the banks real quick, the KRE and the KBE, those are some nice looking trends. It could be some movement in interest rates moving higher. It's always possible, and the financials might enjoy higher interest rates. We're going into the weekend. I haven't even begun to look for a trade of the week, but we'll come up with something. One thing that did come through Barry's scanner here earlier was EasyPW, Easy Core, and this is consumer lending, so it's kind of fitting right in with the financials and the banks. It actually finished a lot stronger than when I last looked at it. So keep an eye on this guy for Monday for some possible follow through. As the sector is strong, that's a pretty strong individual name, but in the scheme of things, as far as the market recap goes, yesterday and today were not much of a follow through after a big bang up job of gapping the market up yesterday. So I'll be watching this declining 20-day average. Technically, it took the price yesterday and today and closed it back below. So when you have prices moving up and then wicking through and falling back down below moving averages that are sloping down, it's just a way in which you can interpret there is pressure going on in the market. And I'll just end with this. Like I said before, the market right now to me is guilty until it can prove itself innocent. All right, well, that's all I got, Chris.
Awesome, Steve. Really appreciate that. I was telling them earlier, always look forward to the Tuesday market recaps with you with the trade of the week. I
All
never
right,
miss those. So
good to
uh,
know.
hopefully that all worked out well for you. So I'll let's see if I can switch back to
Yep.
me. Perfect.
Looks like you're switching back. All right. So it looks like we're going to get the
Awesome.
hang of this after all.
I think so. I think so. All right, Steve. Well, you go get your weekend started, and I'll wrap things up here with everybody.
All right. Thanks. Have a good weekend, everybody.
All right. So, anybody that's been in some of the streams that I have done recently, Steve was kind of jumping on some of the stuff I've been saying, and, of course, like I mentioned, I've learned an incredible amount from him, and he happened to bring up the banks, how saying that maybe if we find leadership in the market, it's going to be from them. And the same with energy. He brought up energy. So, take a look here. The time, we're 7 past the hour, so we got some time here. We'll bring it back to a live Q&A if anybody has questions on the software itself. But for now, I'll kind of just piggyback on what Steve was doing, what Steve was saying, until I see some questions come in. So, again, please fire away the questions if you have them. But, he mentioned energy. XOP, chart that I just keep bringing up and going over and over and over again. And that's, where a lot of my trading has come from, a lot of exploration, oil, gas. And we just see these kind of powerful patterns here playing out long term. We're at levels that the market or energy has not seen in a long time, going all the way back to pre COVID, quite a bit. And the bottom line is supply and demand. We're still a petrochemical world, regardless of the transitions that are being made. And that's what the charts are telling us. Um, See one other chart that I wanted to really bring up and take a look at here. Again, energy sector, XLE. All right. So, where's the money flowing? The money's flowing into energy. And the sign of a healthy bull market is the passing of a baton of these different ETFs in different sectors. So is the baton being passed? Is this the last gasp? I'm kind of in the camp right now that the market's proven guilty. I don't know that we crash lower. I wouldn't say that, but you know we bring back up that SPY chart again. As Steve mentioned, you know these lower highs now that we're making through here. And we've been stuck in this range now for a long time. Going all the way back into the summer. So chop, chop, chop is the way the market goes, and front row seats to how that all unfolds from there. So take a dive down here. A few more sectors. Gold and silver have been popping their head through lately. I'm not bullish gold whatsoever. I mean, but you got to build a base from somewhere. Um, you know, where's a bottom? I don't know. You know, nobody picks bottoms, nobody picks tops. But getting the meat in between, that's where the money's made. So we ask ourselves, is this the beginning of gold doing anything? I don't know, but maybe it's something to keep an eye on. I go over constantly with my evening scan. Let's bring that in. That I like to look at the stocks that are coming through there, and are those stocks in a particular sector? What does that mean if they are? My evening scan looks for stuff breaking out of 20-day ranges. So this is a look at what it looks like after the close. This is the perfect time to start going through this all. Um, a few weeks ago, what did I see on here? I saw nothing but energy, and I saw some banks. So we could just use for number examples. If 100 stocks were on this, seeing probably 50 of them were in energy, and 20 of them were in banks, and the other 30 were scattered amongst everything else. So to have that ratio of banks and energy to every other stock told me that's where we were kind of moving to right now, and that's what the sectors show, and that's where the money's flowing to. So multiple ways to use this data, multiple ways to use a scan, using position and ranges and things like that. So please fire away any questions that you have. All right. All right, I don't see anything coming in here yet question wise, guys and gals, peoples of all nations possibly. So, all right, anybody that was with me earlier in the day today, I went over SD. I had traded early in the day. I was waiting to see if I could get back into it, and it just never gave me a chance to. Um, I just mentioned that, it looked like 1375 was a level I was just really struggling with. It barely poked its head above it for a moment. And it was the same kind of thing for the rest of the day. And as soon as it got back to those high day levels, it gave it up. And I was thinking about taking it in here. I ended up not. And all for the better, I suppose, because who knows how I might have exited or managed that towards the end of the day. But again, looking at energy, it seems to be the big player. The other thing I want to note with energy right now is a lot of the energy stocks that you're going to see that are on my list here. Um, APA, MER, NOG, RES, MRO, MGY, GEL. Every one of those are something with natural gas. And what we've seen here is those stocks make a bit of a divergence from natural gas the last few days. So we pull up a UNG chart. All right. We can see that nat gas has started to fade down the last few days, trying to hold itself in here. If we bring up, for example, let's bring back up an SD chart. All right. SD hasn't quite done the same thing. We can see how I drew that wedge on natural gas. It started to get there, but then we had that gap up and we held that gap up with SD today. All right. MGY, different tail actually today. It pulled down and it really started to pull up today. Now, the thing that I like about MGY the best is the fact that we are sitting at a lifetime high closing near it today. We didn't close on it, but we certainly took it out again today. Trying to bring that in here with this window. There we go, lifetime high. So we can see here that the lifetime high for this 1961. So we closed above that. All right. We touched over 20 today. All right. So that's how the data will update itself come Monday morning. And that's what we'll find here. And as I always like to mention, you buy stocks going up, not down. That's not to say you don't buy stocks in a pullback, but there's a difference between a pullback and a falling knife. I'll go back to, guilty till, steal it from Steve, guilty till proven innocent. Gold is guilty till proven innocent. All right. Is it rebounding? I don't know. But, for now, that certainly looks like a falling knife. Anytime that you saw it make a move up over the last several months, that move up has been sold. Came down here, moved up there, sold. Tried to move back up again, sold. Move back up again, sold. Move back up again, sold. Is this going to get sold? I don't know. But what I know is that I'm not going to be committing money to there for the moment. And again, let's see. So Mike C, when executing buy order for cup and handle play, do you ever have an automated pre-buy stop order? Expectation quickly getting out, breakout. Nope. I keep things real simple. I don't mess around with stop limit orders and anything like that. I know there are fancy ways to get in, kind of save you price protection on the downside, so on and so forth. But I keep it real simple. I keep it real clean. I use. I'm going to connect here. I'll bring over my brokerage plus window here. I don't have it connected currently, but let's go. Let's connect to Trade Ideas Simulator. Mainly, I used this right here. All right, this is all I'm using. I'll set an order according to if there's no spread in it whatsoever. I'm going to buy it at market. I'll pick my share size. If there's a spread, I'll put my orders in. I'll pick out where I think it is, or I'll edit it like this. 750, whatever, and I'll throw my order in like that. And that's how I do it. I don't get too fancy. There's a lot of bells and whistles and tools, and I just the same thing with the software. I came into using Brokerage Plus a few years after beginning to use the software, and I kind of adopted the keep it simple model. What you see on my screen here currently is about 85% of what I'm running in Trade Ideas at any given time. The only reason I have extra stuff that's ever on there is if there's a user thinks that data isn't coming in properly, their alert window isn't working properly, and I'm loading things like that for people and running them. That's why you see some of these other hidden windows that I have down here that are going on right now. It's steel lines from Jamie, Andy, and Steve. So one from Jamie that is a Da Vinci. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, and it kind of just works best for me. So interesting. Steve also made mention EZPW here. Zooming back out, talking about that one. Interesting chart on that daily, closing at this level. So let's stick a line right here, horizontal line. And let's just look at how that happens to neatly line up with some levels going way back here. All right. And, what time frame do we want to look at things? But base and a boom, base and a boom, time will tell. All right. But those are healthy looking patterns to me here. Something I am looking forward to is when we can kind of forget about this nonsense here with COVID, because obviously that's an anomaly. We'll hope that's a once in several generation event. And while the stock was selling off going into COVID all the same, it made that sell off and made that move up. And then, the market started to get real crazy here in February of 2020. And obviously that V recovery. So that's, just a funny area in that whole thing when you look at so many stocks and what it wouldn't have done. I have never looked at level two in my entire life, Vin. That's a lie. When I had Thinkorswim, I had level two up. I paid zero attention to it. It just happened to be in however I set up my active trader layout in Thinkorswim. It bared zero effect on anything I've ever done. Um, I know some people love it. Other people think it's a complete head fake. I'm not. I just don't know enough about it to really go into it, or I haven't used it enough. Let me rephrase that. I know enough about it. I just never really got into it. One of the other guys that I work with here, Chris McKay, he really loves his level two. He does some great things. He trades off of it very, very well. He's pointed out some examples to me. Just, I was curious, how are you using it, whatever. He's shown me a few things about watching those price actions leading up into those different levels, or those orders that are sitting there in level two. And, he was pretty spot on with a lot of that stuff. So just not something that I got into. That's all. But level two, if it's something you're into, whatever your broker is, they'll have it. They'll offer it one way or the other. Unfortunately, with IB, they charge for everything. That's why I can't wait till we have Thinkorswim, or one of the many reasons I can't wait till we have Thinkorswim. And for those that are going to ask right now, I don't know when. Believe me, I'll be the first one to know when Thinkorswim is coming back online, because I am the Thinkorswim resident user here. Do you have a system of what max and min to choose when optimizing back testing in the other filters tabs like profit factor trades wins? So these are things when I'm optimizing. Let's bring up this scan that I'm working on, as a matter of fact, right? And let's go into the back tester. And this right now, I don't want to see trades before 9:35. I have it running to the end of the day. I have it holding stocks that come into the end of the day. I'm not putting any risk management in it. I'm opening it all the way up to the 65 days. It's allowing me to back test. Our back tester goes in between, let's say, 62 and 65 days, depending on when market holidays fall. That's the amount of data we can have. This just summarizes what I got going on. Pressing buy. You're very welcome, Vin. All right. And hopefully this isn't too slow. I have a lot of things running on my PC right now. So let's see how this all shakes out for me. Streaming to you guys. Let me get rid of that for now. Streaming to you guys takes quite a bit of effort on my machine here, unfortunately. You know what we can do though? Let's get rid of. Let's do a few things here. Let's see if I can't speed the process up a little bit on Close Trader Workstation. So, all right, my trader workstation is closing, and let's see if that doesn't help us up a little. Help us up. There we go. That has us jumping up. Those that weren't here earlier, what I'm going over is I created a scan that I'm trying to find 5 SMA crossing a 20 SMA on a 5-minute chart. I went over how to do this, so you can always watch the replay of this later. It involves a custom formula. I shared how that custom formula kind of goes. I gave the code for that custom formula. And you can take that, make it your own, and work through that to see. So sorry, the optimizer's run a little slow with all this stuff here. It's jumping herky jerky. Once we get there, though, profit factor is important. That PF there, tick sell. The equity curve can be nonsense though, because you can have one or two really huge days up or down that really affect the equity curve. What you want to see is the daily tab. All right, that's going to be one of your more important things in the optimizing and back testing. So it's at 80% complete. Let's see how this goes over the next moment. Hopefully, this can kind of take a leap forward. Apologize for this dead air time. I can see people dropping off the stream like flies on me here. We're over 90% now. Maybe in hindsight, I'll run this for less days than the full 65. 95%. We can bring this back over now. All right. Let's see if there's another program I could close. No, nothing else I can close currently to make this speed up, unfortunately. We go, we're at 98, 99. Don't stall out on me now. And the more complicated you make your scan and the more wide open you make it, can affect the speed of this. If there's a lot of trades to return, it's going to take longer. If there's not as many trades, it's going to take shorter. Right. So, we've got the profit factor, equity curve, and all this. You got your total trades, so on and so forth. All right. Here is where some of the bread and butter really comes in. And you want to see a lot more green and bigger green bars than you want to see here. And so this is where you want to start to cut things down. All right. And how do we cut those things down in our optimization process? Well, we come to optimization. And we can change we got price optimization. So I can change that and we can say, let's look at $1 intervals, for example. All right. And this is going through what the intervals look like, what your average winner is, totals, total trades. All right. All these things. Make this even a little wider, make this a little nicer for us here. All right. So that's kind of how this all plays out. Time of day, we can look at the time of day here, what each trade was doing in these different time of days. It's at 60-minute intervals. Again, we can break it down to 5-minute intervals. All right. We can start to cut away the fat based on this. All right. Where we want to draw a line from when we run the next back test. And again, if anybody has any questions about any of this, please fire them away for me. And then when you're ready to really dive down the rabbit hole, and just because you have these doesn't mean you have to mess with any of this stuff first. All right. You come right to here to the other filters. And this is where the rabbit hole really begins. Let's get rid of that drawing, those ugly things there. And every filter that exists. And if it's a custom filter that you've created, it'll be in here also. And you can begin to optimize on any one of these. So for example, we could look at, let's say, 60-minute RSI, all right, and how that played a role into the scan. And here it goes. We're in 10 intervals. Well, let's make it 5 intervals, all right? And we can see how a 60-minute RSI may have affected this. Now, 60-minute RSI doesn't look like something I want to optimize on based on what's going on for this at this point here, all right? And once again, please fire away some questions. The optimizer is one of those things that, you could spend a lifetime on, literally. So we could say 60-minute RSI isn't something to optimize on. Let's skip right by that. And then we can take a look at, let's say, change from open present, all right, on that average true range, all right. We don't want a 100 interval. Let's go with quarter intervals, all right. And we can look through here and see how this may affect us, all right. A lot of data to go through. I'm going to update as we go along, so on and so forth, all right. We take a look at our daily RSI, all right, and let's go with 3 intervals. Intervals of 3 on this, all right, and how daily RSI might take effect, all right. So there's a lot to go over here, and we could say to ourselves, here's a spot that we might want to try to optimize on, all right, and you could optimize on S&P as you could certainly optimize on that. So look, we could see right here that on this daily RSI, anything over 81 isn't looking so good. And everything's red right up here. You got this one bright spot, but is this one bright spot worth having versus all this red that's in here? We could do is we could right click, All right. And we could take this and we could say set the max value right here. Right here. All right. And that's going to come in here. All right. But actually, I want to drop the max value even more. I want to drop that to 81. All right. And you press OK. All right. And now we have optimized that scan right there based on that. All right. Let's see if the back test will run a little bit better here for me with that wide open data. Much smoother, much nicer. That's a much faster back test now that I shut all those other extra programs down. All right. So, this is kind of how we do this. These are the rabbit holes that I go down when I'm back testing scans. I don't know if anybody in here is, taking the test drive. If you are a standard member, you could upgrade for the next 2 weeks with the test drive for that $11.11 and get 2 weeks of unlimited back testing and the AI and all that if you wanted to. So if you are a standard member, if you're anything here, copy, paste. If anybody's interested in the test drive and you're either not in it or you're a standard member and you say, you know what, $11.11 is worth 2 weeks to mess around with this stuff here. There's a link. That link will take you to sign up for the test drive. No tricks or anything like that. If you're not a subscriber and you decide to take the test drive, when the test drive's over, it's over. That's the end of it. You're not signed into anything. I know there's some funny wording on some of whatever, but that's because of our credit card processing company. So, all right, Town, you're doing excellent, excellent, excellent. So, this was one of the reasons I also wanted to get this live stream going. When I did, is I wanted to have it for this test drive going. I'm hoping to see a pretty good crowd in here. Over the weeks. Unfortunately, slowed right down on this optimizer here on the back tester. But we still got this one here to play with. All right, so we come back in here. We have pivot lines. So R1, S1. So support and resistance. So you could base these things on the different pivot lines. What else do we have here? Change in 20-day percent, change in 10-day percent, change in 20-day dollar, change in 10-day dollar, so on and so forth. He mentioned S&P. I think that's kind of down here somewhere. So you got your change in NASDAQ, all right, on these different ones here. You got some, you got your VWAP filters, you got your volatility filters, all right. So, a lot of stuff to optimize on here. All right, back tester back here finished. All right, so let's compare these summaries here. So a little bit better, so we cut out quite a bit of trades. All right, cut out a little over 100 trades by doing that. We took profit factor up 0.1. All right, we took the win percentage up 0.2. All right, so it wasn't a ton, but it was something to work with. Okay, probably daily doesn't look much different, but this is the beginnings of optimization. All right. So that's kind of how this all starts to go. A little bit better on that daily. Not a whole lot better, but all the same. Okay. Yeah. So there you go. And the bottom line is when you're thinking of, you're looking to spend money for investing and the stock market and things like that. It's one of those things that you don't want, you don't want to be cheap about things, so you get out of things what you pay for. And it's also, put in that effort, um, you know, pound the table day and night on this stuff. All right. So coming to the top of the hour, excuse me, mid hour here. I will cut out of here shortly if some questions don't start coming in to start my weekend as well. So give everybody a chance, fire away some more questions here. And see if we can't get them answered. Yeah, you're very welcome, Tixel, going through that. Of course, my pleasure. It's a great feature. I think it's an underutilized feature, and I think it's a feature that gets very misunderstood. Unfortunately, there's a lot that goes behind this back tester. It uses HOLC data 1 minute, which a lot of people don't understand, but any optimizer and any back tester that's out there that you're going to have access to does not have tick by tick data. The amount of data that it would take to have tick by tick data is incredible, absolutely incredible. So we use 1 minute open, high, low candles for our back tester, and I'll put ours up against anybody's, literally anybody's. Are there SR pit points based on daily values? There are not, Debbie. Um, I know that Carmilla or Camarilla or something. The it's a pivot level that has some name. I can't think of the exact. I see a ticket come in for it once in a while. People asking for that. I think that might have to do with daily resistance levels. Debbie, if you send in to info at trade-ideas.com that email there and ask about that, I believe Chris McKay, give him time to get around to it, but he'll probably have something for you there that he can help out with the custom formula there, and get you something if that's something that you're interested in. So, and just for anybody, that was here and has been watching about the customs and stuff like that, um, just know that you're limited to 100 custom formulas. All right. That's it. And custom formulas are for filters only, no alerts, no ifs, ands, or buts on that. There's no way for us to do custom alerts whatsoever. The coding of that is out of this world. But there's a lot to do there as far as that goes. So, um, all right, we're 4:32. If anybody else has any questions, comments, or concerns, I'm going to give it the old auction: going once, going twice, going three times here, and let me know. I will stick around for a couple more minutes if there's questions coming in. You're very welcome, Mike C. Always a pleasure. You're always too kind to us. Really appreciate it, Mike C. Always bringing a positive vibe to this to our trading community here. We're a better trading community with people like you. So thank you very much. All right, everybody. You're very welcome, town. And like I said, a lot of what I know is pirated and parroted from Steve and Andy and Jamie and Barry. All these guys, Michael Noss, every one of them. They all contributed to the knowledge that I had. And as I said, as a community, we learn and grow together a lot better. There's room for everybody at the top, that's for sure. And this is powerful, powerful, powerful software. You can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. And you get your results from there. So, all right, doesn't look like any more questions are coming in. So I am going to start my weekend. I will be back here 3:30 Eastern Monday afternoon, doing exactly what we're doing here. Tim Sykes, I'm sure he's a wonderful person. Not my cup of tea. I bet having dinner with him is great. Hopefully he picks up the check because he makes so many millions of dollars trading his penny stocks. I wish him all the best, but not my style of literally anything in life. Tim Sykes is, but like I said, there are probably people that will tell you he's the greatest thing since sliced bread because he's probably helped them. There are probably people that hate him, and I'll tell you, we get hate emails here too that people think that our software is a complete ripoff and a scam, and then we got people that tell us that our software is the greatest thing on the planet. So, something for everything in between. That's for sure. Um, all right, I'm gonna give it a real 30-second wait here. So if someone's got questions, just because I see a few people coming in and out, still the numbers changing on the viewers. If you're coming in, you got a question, please fire them away. Otherwise, I'm getting to my I'm getting to my weekend too, everybody. So you got 30 seconds to throw them in here. Any new viewers? Tim Sykes, he's he's a penny stock trader, and he's got his trading community, and he charges big money for it, and I think he has his own scanning system, if I'm not mistaken, and stuff like that. And a lot of people think he's a complete charlatan, and other people think he's great. And like I said, I've never met the guy. I never really checked out any of his stuff. The only thing I remember him is an ex relationship of mine. She was watching the show Below Deck, and he was on the show one time, and he was complaining that they didn't have internet signal to trade their stocks on a yacht in the middle of, I don't even know where the hell they were. So that's really what I know of Tim Sykes. That's it. Okay, your 30 seconds is coming to an end, folks. Who knows? Maybe if I'm bored later tonight, I'll start up a live stream later tonight. So anybody that's here, maybe keep a peeled eye, if you will. And I'll mention this one last time too. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. I'm gonna try to work in some pop up live streams. It's hard, later in the night. I start my day at in between 5 and 5:30 in the morning, and I figured you were, Mike C. I figured as much, but I don't like to talk ill about anybody if I can. But anyways, subscribe to our channel. I'm going to be doing some pop-up ones in the evening. All right. If you're subscribed to our channel, you have notifications and I go live, you're going to get a notification that I went live. I don't always know when I'm going to go live outside of market hours and my regular work hours. But I'm trying to get more education out there for everybody. I feel like, the more live education, the better off everybody is, this community, so on and so forth. So subscribe to the channel, please set the notifications. You won't regret it, I promise. So, all right, everybody, you have a wonderful weekend. If you send in any emails to info@trade-ideas.com, you'll probably hear from me over the weekend. And other than that, we'll see you back here Monday. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Be safe. Bye-bye.